Greetings everybody, Redbeard here for another edition of Wrestling with Redbeard, the YouTube show where I, Redbeard, take you to a professional wrestling event somewhere in or around the Carolinas to give you a sense of what it's like to be a fan, traveling the highways and byways in pursuit of this great passion that is professional wrestling. Today is Saturday, January the 6th, 2018. Had to correct myself, almost said 2017. And we are here in Thomson, Georgia for Pro Wrestling Bushido. This is the first time we've had a chance to visit with them, and truth be told, beyond that, I believe this may be their only, this is their second show. They did a show last year, had a bit of a mixed reception to it. This year, looks like they're trying to kick things off again, and they're styling their show after sort of a tournament format, similar to what they were doing with Style Battle, with the WWN properties and the Evolve stuff and whatnot. This is King of Bushido 1. I think they've already scheduled King of Bushido 2 for February, back at the same venue. Hopefully, this is something that'll catch on, something that'll do well. This is not an area that is uncommon to wrestling. I think the last episode of this show that I did may have been for Viral Pro Wrestling, which has their shows just up the road from here. And from what I gather, there's a little bit of tension, you might want to say, between these two groups, because they're geographically separated by about maybe 20 miles or so, if that. Just a little bit of a stretch down I-20, and you're sort of going between one venue and the other. This venue, I will say, this is a boys and girls club. Not quite the best area, maybe you should say, or could say, but you know, at least looks like a decent venue. Pretty good sized place from what we can tell by looking at it from the outside. There's a few people here as well, so there's certainly some anticipation for this event. And I've been looking forward to it too. It's always nice to be able to see something different, combinations of talent that you might not have seen previously, or some talent that you haven't seen in a long time. The major build into this show was a confrontation between Cauliflower Brown and Effie. They had a good back and forth and some exchanges with some promos that were really well done, I thought, and that really sold this whole thing. So looking forward to seeing that match. But again, this is going to be a tournament style show. There have been several matches that were announced. That was one of them that I was going to pay a lot of attention to. There's another thing that they have promoted as the 6-man Seppuku Challenge match, or Seppuku Scramble. That one I'm not real sure about, because quite frankly, you know, this is something that's patterned after Japanese culture with Bushido. Bushido, of course, if you're not familiar with that, being a sort of a code of ethics that was applied to warrior cultures in Japan. Seppuku is, this is just going to be as graphic as I didn't have to be here, but seppuku is ritual suicide. Specifically, it's when a person more or less disembowels themselves with a sword. So, in looking at a 6-man seppuku scramble match, what exactly are we talking about here? Is this something where the winner gets to seppuku the other 5 guys? Do the losers have to seppuku themselves? Does the winner have to seppuku himself? I guess we'll find out. But here again, I just thought it was a little bit weird that they chose to use that in terms of terminology to put over a certain match. So whatever. It's just one of those silly little things that comes across with wrestling. Yes, I know it's supposed to be referencing the Japanese culture and whatnot that's affiliated with this thing, but it just didn't really make a whole lot of sense. All that having been said, looking forward to the show, looking forward to seeing some new stuff This was a decent little drive here, about a little bit more than, well, actually a little bit less than 2 hours. Not bad though, because most of it's on Interstate 20. There is a little bit of a section that you have to go through some of the backwoods areas of South Carolina before you get across into Georgia on I-20, but still not a bad drive. I would say this is probably closer than Charlotte. Not as far as Spartanburg, and definitely not as far as Charleston from our base of operations in St. Matthews, South Carolina. I don't think the doors are open yet though, because people are standing around outside the front of the building. So I'm wondering if maybe they're going to let people in at some point in time, or if I'm just going to have to hang out here and enjoy the heat in my truck for a few more minutes, because it's cold. It is currently 38 degrees outside, and we've just experienced Snowmageddon 2018 in this part of the world. There is no snow on the ground here, but it is cold. So we'll see if anybody starts to trickle into the building here in the next few minutes, and then we'll head on ourselves and get somewhere to sit and enjoy the show, and hopefully have some good comments to bring to you about our first experience here with Pro Wrestling Bushido. If you are not already a subscriber to this channel, please do go ahead and hit that subscribe button. That'll give you the first bit of notification when we put up new material, whether it's one of these main shows, whether it's highlight packages from some show we've been to, match videos, all kind of cool stuff here on the channel going on. But do appreciate all you guys tuning in. Let's go see some wrestling. I've talked enough. I talk a lot. Yeah. See you guys in a few.
It's locked now.
Okay. Clearly this is a big event. It's drawing the finest people.
How is she supposed to know something's really wrong? Yeah. So that's what we're hoping.
Whoa.
Yeah, 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 yeah! All right, what you got? Sorry. All right, Cody, come on, try again.
Try to get him, Fred.
Isn't that right, Daniel?
He's lactose intolerant.
Got no hair to grab. I see what little Casey wants. Little Casey wants that. Yeah, baby. Casey! You ain't getting hard enough yet. He's running away. Get it back there. He's running away from me. Hey, you know you're superpowers today, right? Come on, let's go. Oh, God! Come on, cauliflower. Oh, what you missed was he spit cauliflower in my eye. Come on,
gang. Came outside to get a little bit of fresh air. Won't be out here too long because it's in the area of about 20 to 30 degrees out here, but it's a nice crisp evening for sure here in Thomson, Georgia. It's been a fun show so far. The quarterfinal matches have all been a lot of fun to watch. Good combinations of talent here tonight. A lot of talent that we haven't seen before, some that we are familiar with, but really impressed with Antonio Garza and also Daniel Eads. Surprise appearance here this evening by Fred Yehai. Was not expecting to see him here. I think that they had some shifts, some scheduling issues maybe with some of the talent that were initially announced to be here and participating. But it looks like the fans who are here are going to be coming out the winner in that whole shooting match because there are some cool combinations of talent here. Unfortunately, not all of them made it through the semifinal round. So we'll see what goes on here in the next couple of matches. We're 4 into this, and by my total, there are at least 5 more matches to go. So yeah, this might turn into a bit of a marathon, but at least we'll get our $10 worth, put it that way. So got a lot more wrestling in store for this event here. So we'll see if we can work off some of the funk of this community center. They do have a little bit of a funk to them. This one is a combination of, I'd say, wet dog, pizza, and good old-fashioned BO. It just is what it is. But we'll see if we can work that off and then head back inside, catch the rest of the show. Appreciate you guys tuning in.
Don't make him catch everybody, my God.
Come on, Thomson!
Slam dunk.
Let's go, Eads. Let's go, Daniel.
These are my people, right?
Yep. Oh my goodness. Woo.
There you go.
Take him out. Take him out, Daniel. He's got a bag of cocaine. He's got a bag of cocaine. One, two, three. That riff's terrible.
Alright gang, there you have it. Our coverage of Pro Wrestling Bushido presents King of Bushido 1. I will say this was a very fun little outing. Not a bad drive. Got back here, it's just about quarter to 1 a.m. Pretty late night, but you know, all things total, still not bad. Easy drive, part of it on I-20, part of it, you know, some kind of backwoods roads coming back into South Carolina here, but still not a bad drive. All totaled, we're looking at about, you know, 100 or so miles over there, 100 back. So, you know, wear and tear on vehicle is what it is, but still, this was a worthwhile trip, I'll say. The major criticisms that I have for this event are two. One was that there was a definite moment in the show where the energy level went from here to here. It might even be here, just in terms of how things dropped off pretty quickly. After the 6-man scramble match, which there was no mention of it being the 6-man seppuku challenge during any of the proceedings here. Maybe somebody figured out what that actually means and decided, oh, we better not say that word. But after that match, there were a group of people who left, and I think they might have been there to see one specific talent, which that's fine. Pay your money, whatever else. Come in, see who you want to see, and go home. If that's your choice, more power to you. But once they left, it was a pretty good-sized group, and there were a lot of youngsters involved with that group. Suddenly, all those young voices and all that energy left the room, and it was like, it felt different. And I think it was very palpable to everyone around, because it was suddenly where everybody in the ring was having to really fight and to really work to get any kind of reaction from the folks at ringside and the folks in the crowd whatsoever. So it was a real game changer in terms of how the energy level was perceived there. So I think that, and also some pacing issues in terms of the way this whole card went together, created kind of I'll say a dead finish for the end of the show there. That and the conclusion of the show with the way they chose to finish that final match there. I'll say this, I wasn't a fan of it. I think that's something that you should have done maybe towards the beginning of the show or at some point in the middle even, because that's a finish that allows you to build heat on your heel, which in this case was Brady Pierce. So what's he got going forward? What was the payoff and what was the reason for that? Is he going to be back in the next Bushido tournament? Is that how this thing works? There was no explanation given, so it is what it is. But still, I think that was a finish that could have been used earlier in the show. You had a moment to where you could have been engaging the crowd with some really dramatic wrestling, maybe some false finishes and whatnot, and you go the old ref bump, brass knucks route, and it is what it is. But the other complaint that I shouldn't even say complaint, the other issue they'll have is with the promotion of this event, and you saw how many people were in that arena. It was frustrating to me because of the fact this building was in a community, it was in a housing development, and there should have been hundreds of people at this show, but there weren't. Why? Well, I'll give you a real simple explanation for that. I did not see poster number 1 hanging up in that building relating to this show. I did not see a banner by the road saying Pro Wrestling, January 6, 2018. Didn't see anything in the community, no little signs on the corners as you're driving through, nothing. How can you expect to get people to your show when you have that little base there who evidently didn't even know there was a show happening there? I don't care if it's kids from any walk of life. If they know there's wrestling there, they're probably going to be interested in it. They're going to say, Mom and Dad, hey, look, that's wrestling, or that's some weird-looking dude on that poster. Let's go see him and we'll see what he's about. And that wasn't there. I think that was part of where they missed the boat with this whole thing, because there are probably between 40 and 60 people there, tops. And it was not a big building, but still, it could have been full. Could have been full easily, especially with this combination of talent. You had some great talent that was really on display in the first, the quarterfinal matches. And it is what it is. It's just one of these things where it'll exist as a blip on the radar in the history of professional wrestling. Fortunately, we were able to capture most of it with our cameras. But at the same time, you really have to wonder and question what some people who call themselves promoters are thinking when they get into this line of work. There's just little basic stuff that you can do to improve your business, and some people get it, some people don't. But overall, here again, not a bad show. I don't know that we'll make a return trip over there anytime soon, because it is kind of what it is in terms of being a 2-hour drive over there. There are promotions that I can go to in our part of the world that are much closer, that have similar, if not the same talent, and not require me to get home at 1 o'clock in the morning. And it's 25 degrees outside right now, which is why I'm still sitting in the truck with it running, and you can probably hear the fan blowing. It's nice and toasty in here. It's damn cold outside. But be that as it may, I do appreciate everybody tuning in and joining us on this trip here. We had a good time. If you're ever in the area of Thomson, Georgia, give these guys an opportunity. They'll be back. I think the return date was February 3rd for King of Bushido 2. I don't know if this is going to be a situation where the guy who wins the preceding tournament turns to defend the title, or how that's going to work out. But if they do, Brady Pierce will be back to defend the sword of Bushido. And we'll see what happens from there. But here again, appreciate everybody tuning in. Thank you for spending some time with us and checking out the show. If you have not already, please do consider subscribing to our channel. We're trying to put a lot of stuff out here these days, and we've got more content coming. I'm hoping to rekindle some type of weekly show here. We're not going to be doing the midweek update again. That was a concept that I kind of put by the wayside, but there may be something else coming out here sometime soon. A lot of fun stuff happening in terms of the Carolina's Professional Wrestling Awards. So there's a link in the description to the Facebook group for the CPWAs, where you can join us and follow along with what's happening there. And also want to give a shout out to the folks at the WrestleForce Radio Network. Going to be actually recording this morning, I should say, a show with them. I'm not sure which particular show it's going to be. It could be open mic, could be Preaching the Truth, could be any number of their programs, but still do pay attention to the WrestleForce Radio Network, also on Facebook, and just pay attention to all the fun stuff that's happening in the Mid-Atlantic relating to professional wrestling these days. It's a fun time to be a fan. Do appreciate you guys hanging around and checking us out with us. We'll see you down the road.